our great friend, Professor Dr. Ravindra Agarwal, to whom I know since last, I think, more than 10 years, and he's a very good scholar, has done his PhD from National Physical Laboratory. He's having more than 33 years of experience of teaching and R&D. He has, as far as my knowledge is concerned, he has done about 200 research papers and 125 research papers in the international journal. He has 19 PhD theses, 33 ME Tech students. So he has a lot of very good background. He has done a lot of projects of the government of India. He is a fellow member of different associations in India. Sir, we are obliged you are here to enlighten us about this new subject. And I know that few of the participants are from the educational background, engineering colleges, etc., who would like to learn how to get the accreditation in their educational institute. So thank you very much. We have with us our joint secretary, sir, who is always with us to develop this legal metrology and the standards in the country. Sir, first of all, I would like to request you to kindly speak 2 words and inaugurate the conference. Please, sir.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Good morning to all the participants. Good morning, Dr. Ravindra Agarwal. I welcome Professor Dr. Ravindra Agarwal to this session on quality systems and accreditation in educational institutions in India. This is a subject which is core to my heart also, and I've been working with Niti Aayog and BIS in bringing information and curriculum related to quality systems, standards, and education about these standards and how calibration and other things can be brought inside the educational system and curriculum in the country. The Niti Aayog has a high-level committee. We are working into looking into how this particular information about legal metrology, standards, accreditations, calibrations, all these things can be taught for students who are not even, going to take science as a major stream, and subsequently as a curriculum or a semester course in BSc, MSc, and engineering courses, and including MTech, where there can be a specialization which can be possibly be allowed for this particular subject. So I am indeed very grateful that quality faculty is with us today on what sort of quality system and accreditations and educational institutions in India are being followed, or what exactly is being taught. There are a large number of laboratories which most of our universities and educational organizations have, and there is a very close rapport with the QCI and NABL and legal metrology, National Physical Institute they've been working into, and how well are we able to evolve the young minds, whether we are, taking them to that direction, and whether their thinking is being developed. There are some projects which are being assigned. They've been asked to possibly look into the practical world and maybe go and look into the industry and other systems, how better we can possibly improve and bring in better quality legal metrology issues. Are these people being maybe given a chance to look into the international work which is being done across the world in the area of legal metrology, quality systems, and accreditation? So for maybe it'll be befitting if I say that this is the cornerstone for industry and consumers. The quality system and accreditation, its education, and in case its knowledge is brought down to the industry, it is known to the consumers, as well as the government is able to see it. So all of us are stakeholders in this particular domain, and we need to possibly evolve it and bring it to the world standards. There is a requirement of the government that everything which is being done or produced in the country should be of highest quality standards, and our systems, our measuring instruments, our calibration should be worldwide accepted. There is also a lot of emphasis now being given by commerce and industry and other ministries that we should have MRAs, mutually recognizable standards or products and services, so that internationally something is produced in Germany, we would accept them in India, and vice versa. Our standards and our calibration and our products are accepted across the world, which will possibly bring the world together, and it will also help our entire ecosystem to grow. So I think that this particular session is extremely, extremely important, especially for the young minds, for the industry, especially also for the government people. We need to possibly listen to a person who's done more than 200 papers in this particular area, and he's actually teaching the young minds about what exactly is happening. He's also spent a lot of time in the practical world, and he has a vast experience of National Physical Laboratory and many other industry and other associations. So with these words, I thank Ashutosh for organizing these sessions. These are wonderful sessions for knowledge of everyone. It also gives us an insight as to where exactly the policy direction is to be taken in future. And we will certainly here to listen to Dr. Ravindra Agarwal. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Certainly, sir, we are trying our best to have the very good system in the country, not only in the calibration, testing, or legal methodology, but at the education system also, because the young mind will understand what is actually required. Dikshit sir, can you speak, sir, for 2 words, please? Or Professor Ravindra Agarwal, please, sir, you kindly start. Professor sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. We will listen him at the end.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I am highly thankful to Mr. Mathur for giving an insight of the higher education, which we have been doing since long. And everyone is interested to know much more about the education, the earlier education policy and the new education policy. What are the changes and how we are ensuring the quality in the system. So for that, what are the instruments which are responsible for taking care for the quality education system in the country. So as the rightly said by the scientist Foster, the quality is never an accident. It is always the result of high intentions, incense, effect, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. The education policy, it lays the particular emphasis on the development of the creative potential of each individual. It is based on the principle that the education must develop not only cognitive capacities, both the fundamental capacities of literacy and literacy and higher order cognitive capacities, such as critical thinking, problem solving, etc. The rich heritage of ancient and the Indian knowledge and through and the thought has been a guiding light for this policy. That is about the new policy, which is in progress nowadays since 2020. So about the policy, I will take few minutes about this, the old system, new system, so how we are progressing with time. So the universal high quality education is best way forward for developing the maximizing and our country rich talent and resources for the individual society, country, and the world. The India has the highest population of the young people in the world over the next decade, and our ability to provide high quality education opportunities to them will determine the future of our Okay. In India, the highest population of young people in the world over the next decade, and our ability to provide high quality education opportunities to them will determine the future of our country. And the accreditation means, in general, then it is an official approval of an organization by an official review board, which is formulated by the accreditation instruments, that is from UGC or AICT, to make the best decision about the available infrastructure and so on. And according to the Sheldon, the accrediting is the process whereby an organization agency recognizes a college or university or a program of study as having met certain predetermined qualifications and the standards. And there is another way of saying about the accreditation is you can say the accreditation, it refer to a voluntary review process of the educational program by a professional organization. In a, about the system, the education landscape system in the country, it is basically categorized into two parts. One is the public sector, another one is the private sector. In the private sector, we have the schools, central government funded institutions, public government funded institutions, higher educations. So all this comes under the public sector. Whereas in the private sector, we have again two categories, like the formal setup and the non-formal setup. In case of the formal setup, we have the school and higher education institutions. Whereas in the case of non-formal setup, we have the preschool, basic schoolings, coaching centers, multimedia schools, vocational training centers, and educational material supplied by the various recognized agencies. And about the higher education system, the Department of Higher Education.
Sir, I'm sorry. Sorry, sir. I'm interrupting you, sir. Actually, your screen is not completely visible. At the left and the right side, it is somewhere.
Okay, let me set first, please.
Please, sir.
Still, I will also continue. The Department of Higher Education is an change of secondary and post-secondary education. And the department is empowered to grant the deemed university status, or we can say the University Grants Commission of India, under the Section 3 of the University Grant Commission UGC Act 1956. And the Department of Higher Education take care of the largest higher education system of the world, just after the United States of America and China. However, China is bigger than our country, but still we are near to that. The department is engaged in bringing the world-class opportunities of higher education and research to the country, so that the Indian students are not found lacking when facing an international platform, so that they can comfortably move from anywhere to anywhere. That is globalization. For this, the government has launched the joint venture and signed MOUs with the help of Indian students benefit from the world options to bridge the gap between the good recognized world-class universities. And the technical education system in the country can be broadly classified into three categories, that is central government funded institutions, state government or state funded institutions, and financial institutions. So now it's visible, sir? Hello?
Yes, it is visible. Now it's very nice. It's all the bullets are visible from left to right completely.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir. Now that education systems, the higher education, that is a key potential source for the growth drive for any developed countries by increasing the disposable income and willingness of people to spend on education is a key drive for the Indian education policy. So the education in the India, so it is categorized again into two categories: formal education and informal education. In the case of formal education, we have the higher education and K-12 system. In case of higher education, with the increasing awareness in India is driving private college enrollment. So that helps to broad base in the country. Whereas in the case of K-12 system, the Indian K-12 education technology market is estimated to grow to 4.5 billion US dollar by 2025 due to increased uh, internet penetration and rise in uses of the regional language apps, because there are good number of languages, so to include all these things, so that part has been taken care of in the new education policy. Whereas in the case of the formal education, we have the coaching institutes, primary education schools, vocational education. In case of the coaching institution, the private coaching sectors bring in the revenue of around rupees 25,000 crores, so which is roughly around 3.35 billion US dollar, and it has grown by 35% over the past 5 years. Whereas in the case of the vocational education, the increasing demand for the skilled labor, the increasing number of institutional training, that is ITI, industrial training institutes, as of June 22, there were about 14,602 ITIs in the country. So it has a lot of potential, and you can say the people have a lot of opportunities in the future by the investment in the education area. So 100% foreign direct investment, that is FDI, normally it is said in a short form, which is a automatic route, which is allowed in the Indian education sector from April 2000 to March 2022. The FDI equity inflow stood at 7.72 billion US dollars. The Indian government is going to spend about 10 crores on the model of ITI institutions focusing on youth skill development. And under this initiative, close to 15,000 model ITI will be established in the coming time in the country. And in the month of April in 2021, Education India, the India Academic Partner and a startup in the field of education investment, invested rupees 20 crore in school acquisition model. The policy support, so we can see how much support we are getting from the various government funding agencies. From the February 2022, the central government approved New India Literacy Program for the period financial year 2022-27 to cover all the aspects of adult education to align with the new education policy 2020. And the budget announcement in 2022-23. In February 22, the Ministry of Education approved the scheme of the Rashtriya Uttar Shiksha Abhiyan, that is RUSA, to continue till 2026. There is immense growth and potential in this area in the country. It has the world largest population of the world between 524 years and 5,000 million people, and this provides a great growth opportunities for the education sector. Whereas in the case of the Indian education sector, by the strong demand for the quality education is set to undergo a sustained growth period. And this education industry in India is expected to reach about 225 US billion by the financial year 2025. If we see according to our private sector, so that is an important and integral part of our education policy. So it is categorized in such a way, so it looks very good, like public-private partnership. So which is a demand of the time to grow the country, which can be achieved by setting up formal education institute under PPP and enlarging the existing ones. And the government is considering various modules like basic infrastructure model, outsourcing models, equity, hybrid models, and reserve outsourcing model. So this is another option which is exploring nowadays. The institution of national importance like NIDs will be able to establish the public-private partnership and and to collaborate with the research laboratories across the country. Like we have good number of research laboratories which is coming under the DRDO as well as under the CSIR. And the opportunities for the foreign investors. So this is another area where the country sees from the foreign investors. So there are now more opportunities for the private and foreign companies which involved in the academic through the financial partnership with Indian institutions. In February 2022, the education focused finance firm Propellet raised about 35 billion US dollar in a Series B funding around from Westbridge Capital. And also in the month of January 22, the education technology firm Super School raised about 4 lakhs US dollar in a funding around forming Magic Fund in 2 AM VC under the Jago angle. The opportunities for the innovative agencies, the private coaching sectors bring in revenue of rupees 25,000 crore annually and has grown by 35% over the last 5 years, and which shows clearly that which lies a huge market for coaching and tuition service in the country, which can impart through the innovative means and in a small sector also. In case of the STEM-based education technology comprising are the partnering with the Niti Aayog and the government to build a STEM ecosystem by establishing the Atal Thinking Lab, that is ATL, to spend knowledge about the STEM and AI, ML, machine learning, and robotics for the K-12 students. So there are some key policies and the initiatives from the government side, like which is very much visible from the union budget 2022-23, as the government allocated rupees around 60,000 crore rupees. So that is around 8 billion US dollar to the Department of School Education. So the allocation towards the triple S, that is Samagra Shiksha scheme, has increased around 20.3% from 31,050 crore in financial year 22 to 3,083 crores. So the huge difference in the next financial year 2023. And the national education policy, which was defined and implemented in 2020, that is 2020. So according to this scheme, on July 29, the Union Cabinet approved the National Education Policy, that is NEP, with an aim to transform India into an emerging knowledge society and global knowledge superpower by making school and college education more holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, suitable to current needs, and aim at bringing out the unique capabilities of each student. According to this, the National Digital Education Architecture, that is NDEAR, and National Education Technology Forum were also launched at NEP 2020 event. So the NEP 2020 implementation from the July 2022 the minister inaugurated a 3-day Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam at Varanasi to discuss the implementation of National Education Policy 2020 across the country with various stakeholders. In April 2021, the implementation plan, that is Sarthak, means the student and teacher holistic advancement through quality education, was released. According to the Sarthak definition, 297 tasks which agencies should implement them, and the tentative timelines for the implementation was decided. Under the Department of School Education and Literacy, that is DOSE and L, also launched a national initiative for the proficiency in the reading and understanding the numeracy, that is Nipun Bharat initiative, to ensure fundamental literacy and numeracy for all children by the year 26-27. Few universities have begun to implement academic bank of credits, that is ABC, which will allow students to accrue credit and about various degrees over the time. So the student is studying from in any university, so that credit point can be transferred and he can continue the study. So under the Department of School and Education and Literacy, which is collaborating closely with the state to execute the reforms and establish state circular framework, which was then followed by the national curricular framework. Now, about the partnership with the national and international agencies to strengthen the resource support at district level, the Ministry of introduced the Mahatma Gandhi National Fellowship MGNF, where the fellows will be posted in the district for 2 years and will work with district administration to create the specific state skill development plan, that is SSDP. Under this program, the National Skill Development Corporation under the ministry signed the MOU with the 8 countries. So this is another good achievement with Japan, UAE, Sweden, Saudi Arabia, Sweden, Russia, Finland, and Moscow for the cooperation in the field of vocational education and training. So that will be very helpful in the education system for the young minds. And another important thing, as per our ancient gold information about the Ayurveda. So we have the Ayurveda PGs to perform surgery nowadays. That is new addition as compared to previous policies which have been working in the past. From the November 2022-20, the Indian Central Medicine Council, that is CCIM, which governs the medical study and practice of Ayurveda, amended the 2016 regulations of the Indian Medicine Central Council to allow the Ayurveda PG student to practice general surgery. However, the scope is at present is limited, and later on it will be increased. The Johar Navodaya Vidyalayas, in October 6, 2022, the Minister of Education and Ministers of Minority Affairs jointly laid the foundation stone for a new Johar scheme. Navodaya Vidyalayas Act, Prakar 2, that is Jharkhand, to provide quality education to children free of cost from the class 6 to 12. So being a poor area, so the government has decided to give the free education in this region for this 6 to 12 standards. As per the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, in January 15, 2021, the third phase of Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana was launched in 600 districts with 300 plus skill courses, which is spread over by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. The third phase focused especially on new age and COVID related skills, that is PMKVY. 3.0 aim to train 8 lakh candidates. So this is a good number, so which will be helpful for the corona warrior. The integrated teachers training program, so new addition to train the manpower to handle the new brains, young brains. In 2020-21, the national initiative for the school heads and teachers holistic advertisement, the phase 2 was launched at the secondary level. And due to COVID-19 situation, the NISTA online has been created by customizing modules for online delivery. So that helps the education system in last 2 years during the corona time. The personality development program for the women was also designed and it is under use. In September 2021, the National Commission for Women started a country-wide capacity building and personality development program for the education undergraduate and postgraduate students to make them more independent and the job ready for them. This commission will partner with the center and state institution to prepare the women students for the job market by providing sessions on the professional capacity building, professional career skills, digital literacy, and effective use of the social media. So that will be a good addition in the system. Now we have the alternative academic calendar also, AAC, and according to this, to engage students at home. So that is the follow-up after the corona time it started, to engage the student at home amid the corona pandemic through the educational activities and alternative academic calendar for students, parents, and teachers for classes 1st to 12 were developed by NCERT under the guidance of Ministry of Education. The alternative academic calendar for 4 weeks and the next 8 weeks for primary and upper primary stage were released. And as per the alternative academic calendar, which provide the guidelines to teachers for the various technological tools and the social media tools is available for imparting education in fun-filled and interesting way. So fun-filled, this is another addition. So in a gaming way or different means by the latest, maybe in a very interesting way. So to make the education more and more interesting. However, it has taken into account that the level of access to such tools, maybe by using mobiles, radios, television, or various other social media platform which can be used to make the things more and more interesting. Whereas the fundamental mathematics courses, which is an important part earlier also, and it will remain important till the education continue. In October 2020, the National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC, collaborated with Khan Academy India to offer free courses on mathematics foundation and numerical literacy skills for the Indian youths. Now we can see the railway. So that department is also helping in the Rail Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So how that is helping, let us see. In September 17, 2021, Mr. Ashwani Vishnu, Minister of Communication, Railways, Electronics and Information Technology, launched Rail Kaushal Vikas Yojana, which is a program under the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So its main objective is to empower the today youth by providing entry level training in industry related to the skills through the railway training institutions as part of 75th year of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The stars, that is the strengthening teacher learning and result for the state. So by the Union Cabinet, which was chaired by the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, he approved the implementation of STARS project with a total cost of rupees 5,718 crore, about 776 US billion dollars. The project will also receive the financial support, which is another important point, about 500 billion US dollar from the World Bank. The STARS project would be implemented as a new centrally sponsored scheme under the Department of School Education and Literacy by the Ministry of Education. Under this scheme, the project covers 6 states at present: Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Kerala, and Odisha. And in the coming time, more and more areas, states will be covered under this program. Another platform is My NEP 2020 a platform. Under this, the Minister of Education, the previous Pradhan, Dharmendra Pradhan, Education Minister, launched the My NEP 2020 platform of the NCTE web portal. So according to this, the platform seeks and invite suggestions, inputs, membership for the stakeholders for preparing drafts for the development of national professional standards for teachers, that is NPST, and the national mission for mentoring program membership. So this is a very interesting platform which is used by the students. The skill development in October 2021, NSDC launched the largest impact bond in India with a US dollar about 15 million funds to help 50,000 youngsters in the country to acquire the skills necessary for the employment. Now about the Niti Aayog, which is tied up with the Byju's. So now the private sector is also interacting with the Niti Aayog and other platform of the Indian governments. So let us see first by the Byju's. In September 2021, the Niti Aayog announced a collaboration with the Byju's. In this partnership, the students in government schools in 112 aspiratial districts will have free access to the company quality learning materials. And as per the Byju's, they will also give the free engineering and medical entrance test preparation sessions to 30,000 deserving students in class 11 and 12 through the Akash Institute. Akash, this is another agency to give the coaching for engineering mostly, and also now tie up with the Byju's for engineering also. The investment which is increasing by the help of government agency as well as from the private sector. So the private investment in the Indian education sector have increased substantially over the past 2 decades. The education technology startup in India raised about 4.7 billion US dollar across 165 deals in 2021. In June 2022, the education technology platform Physics Valaha becomes India's 101st unicorn by raising 100 million US dollar in a series a funding around from Westbridge Capital and GSV Ventures, valuing the company at 1.1 billion US dollars. In June 2022, the education technology unicorn upgrade raised about 225 US billion dollars in a funding round that included LIPA System LLC and US testing and assessment provider educational testing service value company at 2.25 billion US dollar. In October 2021, the tech mint was valued with 500 million US dollars after a 78 million US dollar funded around it. In October 2021, Byju's raised to rupees 2,200 crores. So it's around 300 billion US dollars to increase the company valuation from the 16.4 billion US dollar in 2022 to 18 billion US dollar in 2021. So you can clearly see the amount is increasing with time. And it is expected with the coming time more and more private and foreign investors will participate in this process. In September 2021, the online tutoring platform Vedantu achieved unicorn status as the company raised about 100 billion US dollars in a Series E funding round led by the Singapore-based ABC World Asia. In September 2021, the GradeUp, one of the India's leading online exam preparation platform, was acquired by Byju's, the world most valued education technology firm. In 2021, the Academy ranked number one on LinkedIn list of 25 top startup companies in the world. Now, about the new development in the education and training industry, the new offering from the Amazon, so which is another good platform from the private sector. In 2022, Amazon India launched second education of machine learning summer school to provide students opportunity to learn important machine learning technologies from Amazon scientists, making them ready for the careers in the science and technology. In 2021, the Amazon India launched machine learning summer school also. In the case of the Atal Thinkering Labs, ATL Space Challenge 2021, in September 21, the Atal Space Challenge 21 was launched by the Atal Innovation Missions, AIM, in cooperation with the Indian Space Research Organization and Central Board of Secondary Education for School Education in India. For this, the strategic partnership with the IIT Kanpur Foundation for the Innovation and Research in Science and Technology and Toronto Business Development Center, Canada, have signed a MOU to provide business advisory, investor, and industry uh, connections to startups such as startup visa and soft landing program, etc. In May 21, the scholarship from IIT Madras announced a collaboration with the representatives of the Mobile Payment Firm of India, MPFI, to build the voice-based application in multiple languages to aid and boost the adoption and digital money transactions in the country. And in the case of the new campus and building, so the infrastructure is also increasing with time as per the demand. In September 21, the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, laid down the foundation stone of Raja Mahendra Pratap Singh State University at at Aligarh. The skill development initiatives, September 21, Akzo Nobel India Limited, in collaboration with National Small Industries Corporation, NSIC, is certified government of India enterprise under micro, small, and medium enterprise inaugurated its Paint Academy in India. So under this program, which provide the skill training and decorative painting to the disadvantaged students, children's, and less privileged youth population in India. So that becomes another opening for the uh, uh, decorative by this decorative painting system. In IT-based training, in February 22, the Tech Mahindra Foundation Company, CSR, aimed the partnership with the Amazon Internet Service Private Limited to help the underemployed or the unemployed people to get started in cloud computing. In this case, the AWS, that is reached, or the start program, is a 12-week in person skill-based training program which covers the fundamental cloud abilities as well as the practical job skill like interviewing and resume writing to assist individual preparing for the entry level for the cloud positions. So another area where the young can seize. The rise in the education technology enrollment as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has led to an increased demand for the unskilling. Coursera, which is one of the world's largest online learning platform, which has seen in India gain and the highest number of new learners worldwide since January 2020. As in September 30, 21, the Coursera had 92 billion enrolled learner. Coursera, this is a tool through which learning can be done, a growth of 109% over 2 years. Now, for this, as per the government knowledge and his commitment toward the quality education, so the government has set up the uh, quality conscious institutions which will take care of all the standards and ensure that whatever uh, decided by any organization which have been implemented religiously. One of them is University Grant Commission, which was set up uh, to see the recognition of the institution. The UGC website provides the various overviews for the recognized institutes. So, which we can visit the website and we can see the overview of recognized universities, overview of recognized colleges, overview of the recognized autonomous colleges. So that will remove any kind of confusion which is coming at the time of entry level in any of the institution. For that, the UGC has framed the accreditation system, so which helps the system to coming up with the small things so that it can it can maintain the quality standards. So we can also check whether a study program is accredited or which is not accredited, or on the website of the accreditation organization we can confirm it. The UGC decided that from 2013 the accreditation for higher education institute is mandatory. So that was the one big step taken by the University Grant Commission in 2013. Under this accreditation recognitions, approval by the government of India are. So these are some of the agencies which ensure the quality of the education and accreditation, primarily by the AICT and the NEC. The other two platforms are the for the distance education, and the professional councils are also participating in that. But primarily AICT and NEC is taking care of all the standards. And before 2013, the NEET credential evaluation of the diploma that was awarded before 2013. So little bit some information was available, but now we can see and check the NAC accreditation levels. So there is a one expectation that you only need to check the NAC accreditation to determine whether you are dealing with a top institution or not. So that will be a big and good deciding factor for you where you are going to study. Unlike now, before 13, accreditation by NAC was not mandatory for the education and not covered by the AICT and others professional councils. As per the AICT, which is an institute offering the technical study program, which must be accredited by the AICT. An overview of accredited institute is available on the AICT website, and the many institutes of the national importance fall under the AICT. And in this description, all the institutes of national importance are referred to as top institution, as are the institute with the highest NAC accreditation level. In case of the DEB, that is the Distance Education Bureau, the distance learning study program must be accredited by this bureau, and sometimes an institution may only offer certain study program via distance learning. It is also possible that the institution may offer all study program via the distance learning. So the last 2 years we have seen all these things, and the accreditation always has a limited period of validity, maybe 5 years or 3 years, so depending upon the recommendation of the committee. DEB website provides an overview of accredited study programs per institute. Whereas in the case of professional councils, which are the bodies that are affiliated with the UGC, so they determines which institutions may offer the study program for regulated professions and certain education sectors. The AICT and DEB are the examples of professional council. The overview of all the professional council can be found on the UGC website, which is given in detail. The overview of the recognized institutions and recognized study program can be founded by on the website of professional council. In case of the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, that is NAC, needed credential evaluation of a diploma from a study program that does not fall under the AICT and DEB or the professional council. So in that case, the institution must be accredited by NAC. The NAC website contains a database where you can look up the accreditation status of the particular institution. The other information can be found from the database, which includes the effective date of accreditation or the level of accreditation. NAC. NAC means the 7 steps to quality. So, which we are concerned, like in the industry, so that ensure the standards for the educational institute. The 7 steps of qualities are the quest for excellence, understanding the concept, action orientation, learner centric approach, innovation for change, training to build competence, year-round activity. The National Assessment and Accreditation, NAC, which is an autonomous body which was established by the University Grant Commission of India to assess and accredit the Institute of Higher Education in the country. So it is an outcome of the recommendation of the National Policy of Education 1986, which laid the special emphasis on upholding the quality of higher education in India. To address the issues of the quality, the National Policy of Education and the Plan of Action in 1992 advocated the establishment of an independent national accreditation body. Consequently, the NAC was established in 1994 with its headquarters at Bangalore. For the NAC, it has what are the benefits, what is the purpose, and how to proceed, what are the ratings, what are the different levels. So little bit I will touch upon all these points also. The benefits of accreditations. The institutions to know its strength, weakness, and opportunities through an informed review process laid down by the University Grant Commission. Identification of internal area of planning and resource allocations. Collegiality on the campus, coordination. Funding agencies look for objective data for performance funding. Institutions to initiate the initiative and the modern methods of pedagogy. The new sense of directions and to identify institutes. Society look for reliable information on quality education. employees look for reliable information, intra and intra-institutional interaction. The eligibility criteria for the NEC, the important thing, the higher education institutions, HEIs, with a record of and at least 2 batches of students graduated or have been in existence for 6 years, whichever is earlier, are eligible to apply for this process. The universities, that is center, state, private, or deemed to be universities, and the institution of national importance. The second category is autonomous colleges, constituents college, affiliated college, affiliated to universities recognized by the UGC. And third category is accredited higher education institutions by applying for reassessment or subsequent cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4 of accreditation. So basically there are 4 cycles, cycle 1, 2, 3 and 4. The accreditation higher education institutions apply for the reassessment or the subsequent cycles 2, 3 and 4 of accreditation. The institution which would like to make a improvement, one is very clear case cycle 1, clear cut and NAC in good category, and the second is with some resistance. So those come under 2 and 3 category. So in this category, so we may apply for the reassessment after a minimum 1 year or before 3 years of accreditation, subject to the fulfillment of other conditions given by the NAC expert committee. The institutions opting for the subsequent cycles, cycle 2, 3 and 4 of accreditation, can submit the institutional information for quality assessment during the last 6 months of validity period, subject to the fulfillment of other conditions specified by the NAC. The universities, that is center, state, private, deemed to be university and institution of national importance, provides institution and their off-campus are approved by the MHRD or UGC, which provided that these institutions have the regular students enrollment in full-time teaching and research program offered by the university in the campus, provided that the duly established campuses within the country shall be treated as part of the university institutes of national importance for the assessment and accreditation process. The NAC will not undertake accreditation of offshore campus. So they will be visiting only to the main campus for the accreditation purpose, provided the colleges are affiliated to the university recognized by UGC for the purpose of affiliation. Constitutional colleges or private and deemed to be universities are considered as constituent units of the university and thus will not be considered for A&A independently. Also, which provided the college or institution not affiliated to a university are offering programs recognized by the statutory professional regulatory councils and have been recognized by the Association of Indian Universities or other such government agencies. So as per the data which I have taken from the website from the UGC, the number of colleges in India reached 42,343 in the financial year 20. And the number of universities in India reached 1,047 in the financial year 23, up from 760 in the financial year 15. The units of the assessment, that is the grading system. So that process, the NAC is developed to assess and grade the institution of higher education to make the outcome meaningful through the methodology and the outcome meaningful. Though the methodology and the broad framework are similar, there is a slight difference depending on the unit of accreditation. That is affiliation, constituent college, autonomous college, universities, health sciences, teachers, or the physical education. The educational accreditations, the university and colleges. In case of university, the university's central government structure along with all the undergraduate and postgraduate departments, whereas in the colleges, any college affiliated, constituent or autonomous with all its department of students of studies. The department accreditation, any department, school, center of the university. The NAC is undertaking any institutional accreditation. The expert groups have been constituted to work on the program accreditation. For that, the whole process in detail is available, which can be seen through the flow chart, which is given on the website of UGC for the complete process. Now let us come to the criteria and weightages of the NAC, which has identified 7 criteria to serve as the basis for its accreditation process. The NAC has categorized higher education institutions into 3 main categories. One is the full-fledged university, second is autonomous, and third is affiliated and constituent colleges. The NAC has assigned the different weightages of these criteria under different key aspects based on the functioning and organizational focus of the 3 types of higher education institutions. So, which is also given in detail about these criteria and weightages, and the key indicators and weightages are also defined in detail there. So, as per one slide of the table in a brief, this is a criteria-wise differential weightages for the 3 types of higher education. U is for the full-fledged university, and AU is for the autonomous, and the remaining affiliated UG and PG programs in the colleges. As per this, the teaching, learning, and evaluation, the points 200 for the university and 300 for the autonomous and 350 for the affiliated UG and PG program. And similarly for the research, innovations, and extension, 250 points for the university and 150 for the autonomous, and 110, 120 for the affiliated colleges, and so on. Now the grading, as we know very well, come across the term grade A plus, B grade, C grade, and so on. So these grading denotes the very good, satisfactory, and unsatisfactory. The submitted score for all the key aspects under a criteria is then calculated with a appropriate weightage applied to it, and the GPA is worked out for the criteria, and cumulative GPA, that, or you can say in detail a little bit CGPA, which gives the final assessment outcome, is then calculated from the 7 GPAs pertaining to the 7 criteria which were laid down by the department after applying the prescribed weightage to each criteria. Now the advantages of this grading CGPA system. The latest grade convert it to numerical grade points, that is the overall score in CGPA. So quantitative measurement converted to grade points, the wide scope for formalizing the score, and extreme biases, if any, could be minimized. So that helps by the CGPA system. Or we can say the 1 point difference between the two letters grades with 50 or 100 points assigned between the two successive letter grade results in fine tuning the process. So that gives more and better satisfaction level. The relative evaluation would be more exact due to a reduction in variation and standard deviation. Now this system of grading has been introduced even in the schools also. The inter-peer team variations are subsequently reduced with scarce scope for adjustment at any stage. The peer team judgment would be more accurate. Now let us see about the validity of the accreditation. Normally the NAC accreditation is valid for 5 years. The institution which would like to make an improvement in the accredited status may volunteer for reassessment after completing at least 1 year or before the 3rd year. When an institution undergo the accreditation process for the first time, it is referred to as cycle 1, and the consecutive 5-year period as cycle 2, 3, and so on. For the cycle 1, in detail, the process of accreditation is given on the website of UGC, and for cycle 2, 3, etc., the following way in a brief is measured. That is internal quality assessment cell, so which is available in all the universities, including our university, and timely submission of the initial quality assurance report annually, and the institution to submit the institutional information for quality assessment during the last 6 months for the validity period subsequent to the fulfillment of other conditions specified by the NAC, and the other steps remain same for the first cycle. The institutions coming under the accreditation in 2020 and 21. In cycle 1, the total 137 institutions participated. In cycle 2, 68, cycle 3, 90, and cycle 4, 18 institutions participated. In all, 313 institutions accredited in 2021. And the process of 21 and 22 is going on. And the grading system of accreditation with effect from the July 2017 is being followed. So if the CGPA is coming between 3.76 to 4, then the accreditation grade is A double star, double plus, and so on. For A, 3 to 3.5, and so on. The evaluation framework. So the criteria which I mentioned is curriculum aspects, teaching, learning, evaluation, research, innovation, extension, infrastructure and learning resources, student support and program, governance, leadership and management, institutional value and best practices, and their points for the university and autonomous and affiliated colleges have been shown in the table. The assessment outcome. The final result of the A&A assessment and accreditation exercise will be on information communication technology, that is ICT based score, which is a combination of evaluation of qualitative and quantitative metrics comprising of these 3 parts. First one is peer team report. In peer team report, there are 3 sections. In first section is general information of the institute and its context. In the second section, the criteria-wise analysis based on the peer evaluation of quantitative indicators. So this will be a quantitative descriptive assessment report based on the peer team critical analysis presenting the strengths and weaknesses of higher education institutions under each criteria. Whereas in the section 3, the overall analysis, which include institutional strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenges. In case of the section, in the last section, that is the records, recommendations for quality enhancement of the institutions. The second is the graphical representation based on the quantitative matrix, that is the QM. It is a system generated quantitative profile of higher education institution based on the statistical analysis of quantitative indicators of the NAAC QIF, that is the quality indicators framework. And the institutional third is the grade sheet, which contains the institutional grade sheet, which is based on the quantitative indicator, uh, qualitative, quantitative indicators, and student satisfaction survey using existing calculation methods, but it will be generated by the software or by calling the people physically for the interaction. And these three parts together form the NAAC accreditation outcome documents. So it is mandatory for the higher education institution to display it on their institutional website apart from the NAAC posting it on its website. So this is about the range of institutional competitive grade points average is given as earlier I mentioned. The level of accreditation not only indicative whether an institution is accredited, but also at what level, grading ABC or plus minus. The level of accreditation of institution with the highest accreditation is higher than the institutions with a lower accreditation. The top institutions refer to institution with a highest NAAC accreditation level, that is A++. Now the checking of the NAAC accreditation level, which has modified its accreditation assessment system multiple times. A particular accreditation level may have been highest in 1 year, but not in another. So it depends, so keeps on changing as per the institution participation and seriousness from the student size or from the faculty or administration. So this information cannot be checked in the database as it only states and the current accreditation level. To check which level an institution was previously followed these following points, we can check at which time what was the status of NAAC, which is already given on the website of the UGC. The year-wise number of institutions accredited is mentioned in this bar graph. So at present, as I mentioned also, 313 institutes participated in 2021. The institutions accredited during 2021. So this is with the grades, the number of universities indicated with blue color, and with red color, number of colleges participated in accreditation. So another important and big accrediting agency is All India Council for Technical Education, which is responsible for maintaining the quality and standards in engineering institutions. The AICT was set up in 1945 to stimulate, coordinate, and control the provisions of educational facilities and industrial development. This AICT was started with a vision to become the country by enhancing the global competitiveness of the technical manpower and by ensuring high quality technical education to all sections of the society. And this agency, AICT, has the following objectives like promotion of quality in education, planning and coordinated development of technical education system, and providing regulations for maintenance of norms and standards. So this is the overall vision and objective of the AICT. Apart from it, which is an important part of this AICT, is NAC. Now for the NAC, it was established, for this NAC was established in 1994 to facilitate the quality assurance of the higher education in India through accreditation. The NBA conducts the evaluation of programs of technical institution to ensure that the graduates produced by the institution meet the industry requirement. So NAC is basically program wise, branch wise. This is not as a whole or as university. Whereas in the case of UGC NAC, so that is in whole for the university. The NAC has the vision that is to be an accrediting agency of international standards through assurance of the quality and relevance of professional education by meeting the experience of academicians, corporates, educational institutions, government, industry, regulators, students, and their parents. And this NBA has a mission to stimulate the quality of teachers, self-evaluation, and accountability in higher education by facilitating the teaching practices and produce high quality professionals and contributes to the domain of knowledge through innovation and research. Now let us see the status of technical education in the country. So which has been represented for 16, 17, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 2021. In 2021, so with color coding, I'm mentioning here with this different colors about the approval, student placement, and total students enrolled with red color. The implementation of startup policy in AICT approved institutions. So again here with the bar graph, the total number of institutions 1,363, and the institute implementing startup policies are expected to increase with time. So here we can see in 1920, so it's around 1869. So with time, the things will improve. Research and development centers in the AICT approved institutions. So all the university organizations have their research and development centers also. So here with different color coding in 1920, if we see the total institutions are 378, and with this orange color, number of PhDs produced to 2468, and 907 are the number of institutions in R&D. The NBA was started with an objective to assess and accredit the technical education programs, that is engineering, evolve standards and parameters for the assessment and accreditation in the concerned field of technical education in line with parameters laid down by the appropriate statutory regulatory authority. The NBA also promote the excellence through a benchmarking process, which is helpful in determining whether or not an institution is able to achieve its goal and in interpreting the result of outcome assessment process. The NBA also promote the quality system of education where the excellence, relevance, of market needs and participation by all the stakeholders are the major determinants. The NBA other objectives are like build a technical education system as facilitator of human resources, set up quality benchmark, conduct evaluation, contribute to the domain of knowledge in quality parameter assessment and evaluation. Now, these are some benefits of the NBA accreditation, like promote and recognize excellence in technical education in college and universities at both undergraduate and postgraduate level through the accreditation. NBA provide benefit to institutions, students, employers, and public by the external verification of quality provided through the NBA accreditation process. The support and advise technical institute in maintenance and enhancement of their quality. The important part of the NBA is which gives confidence and assurance on quality to various stakeholders, including students. The assurance of the good reputation of an institution of government department and other institution. The NBA accreditation uh, benefits are like enabling an institute to state publicity that it has voluntary accepted assessment by NBA and has satisfied all the requirements laid down by the AICT for the operation and maintenance of quality in education, like the help and institutions to know its strength, weakness, and opportunities, initiates innovative and modern methods of pedagogy in institutions, provide society with reliable information on quality of education uh, offered, and gives institution a new sense of directions. The accreditation assures the prospective employees that students comes from a program where the content and quality have been evaluated, satisfying established standards. So that gives the confidence in all respects. The accreditation gives a strong message that is a country, our technical manpower is of international standards and enhance the global mobility of our technical manpower. So this was started as per the Washington Accord, WA, and the graduate attributes, and which is implemented only for the UG engineering programs. In this case, the engineering knowledge is check problem analysis, design development of solutions, conduct investigations of complex problems, modern tool uses, engineers and society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management and finance, lifelong learning. So earlier in the system, it was the outcome based input and output based. Now the system of accreditation has changed. So let us see how it is changing and what kind of additions is there in the coming time. Till recently, NBA was input output based accreditation. So that was the past system, but still it is continuing to ensure the outcome based accreditation. Now it has switched over to the outcome based accreditation. The outcome based education is student standards. So this is a big change in the education system for learning that focus on measuring student performance. Outcomes may include a range of skill and knowledge. The outcome-based accreditation focus remains on evaluation of outcomes of the program through the input and output parameters are also looked into for this purpose. In case of input-output based accreditation, the input are like the infrastructure, facilities, resources, administrative practices, financial statements are evaluated. And the output, like the success rate of students, is predominantly evaluated. In this case, the student should learn and the student should demonstrate the professional work, and the design of curricula and delivery mechanism is built. The accreditation process, in brief, the accreditation is the formal recognition of the quality of an educational program by an external independent agency through impartial assessment on the basis of well-defined criteria of assessment. So there are different programs like engineering and technology, management, pharmacy, architecture, computer application, hospital and tourism management, and the different levels which includes in diploma, UG and PG levels. The accreditation process, the NBA has opted two-tier system of accreditation. Tier 1 and Tier 2. In Tier 1, programs are offered by the institutions that have academic autonomy to design, develop, update its curriculum contents, and make suitable changes based on recommendation of NBA accreditation process. Whereas in the case of Tier 2, the programs are offered by the affiliated colleges. Type 1 is for the university institutions and Type 2 is for the colleges, which delivers the program prescribed by the university. They are affiliated to and do not enjoy the privilege of academic autonomy. In case of the Tier 1, in detail a little bit, the institutions of national importance, that is IITs, Indian Institutes of Science, Indian Institute of Information Technology, Design and Manufacturing, and Indian Institute of Information Technology, National Institute of Technology, NITs, central universities, state universities, private universities, that is universities established or by under legislation enhanced by the state legislature but promoted by the private trust societies, companies under Section 25 of Indian Companies Act. Deemed to be universities, that is the institutions declared as deemed to be university by MHRD, and the institutions declared as autonomous by the competent empowered authority. So all these institutions come under Tier 1 accreditation. Whereas in the case of Tier 2 accreditation, the undergraduate engineering institutes like the non-autonomous technical institution affiliated to the university includes the government colleges, government aided colleges, private and self-financing colleges. And the program of Tier 1 and Tier 2 institutions are assessed with a similar set of criteria, but with the variation of weightage in some criteria. NBA criteria. So there are 10 criteria. The number one is the vision, mission, program, education objectives. Second is program, curriculum, and teaching learning process. Third is course outcome and program outcomes. Fourth, student performance. Fifth, faculty information and contributions. Sixth, facilities and technical support. Seventh is continuous improvement. Eighth is first year academics, student support system. The last one is governance, institutional support, and financial resources. So in all, the marks are mentioned in front of criteria. The term used in accreditation criteria, which helps in the process of accreditation, giving their points and grading system, like self-assessment, which is a method that facilitates an institution to assess the overall effectiveness of its own process. SAR, that is self-assessment report. It helps the institution in identifying gaps, preparing an appropriate action plan to address the weakness of the program to the accredited, provides the uh, the institution for the NBA visit for the programs, provides the status of the program to be visiting with the team, explaining the process and the extent to which the program meet each criteria. It also provides the first impression about the institution programs uh, to the visiting team, and it also provides the documented evidence which the evaluation team maps or matches the and verifies with the visual oral evidence during his visit in the institution. Vision and mission statement of the universities, which is different for different universities, laid down by the specific university. The vision statement expresses aspirations of the institutions in terms of its objective in the long term, whereas the mission is the mean by which the institution moves toward its vision. So, to fulfill the vision, the mission is laid down. The program educational objective POs, which describes the career and the professional accomplishment that the program is aiming to achieve. The course outcome, that is COs, which describes what students are expected to know and are able to do at the end of each course, which relates to the skills, knowledge, and behavior that the students acquire in their program through the course. POs, that is program outcomes, which describes the students are expected to know and be able to do upon graduating from the programs. So these relates to the skills, knowledge, attitude, behavior that a student acquire through the programs. Now we have PSOs, which denotes the students are expected to know and to be able to do in a specialized area in the discipline upon graduating from a program. Assessment is the process that defines the college and spares data to evaluate the attainment of learning outcome in relation to POs and PSOs. In evaluation, which is a process for interpreting the data and evidence accumulated through the assessment practices. Mapping, which is a very important and essential part of this process. In this, the process of representing, performing in a matrix form, the correlation among the parameters which are laid down by the criteria, which may be done for one or one to one, one to many, or many to one, or many to many parameters. So their mapping and correlations are seen on the basis of that some conclusion is drawn. There are few rubrics which provides a powerful tool for assessment and grading of students' works, which serves as a transparent and inspiring guide to learning. Rubrics are scoring or grading tools which are used to measure a student performance and learning across a set of criteria and the objectives. The accreditation criteria which I mentioned and their marks for Tier 2 and Tier 3. So in all is 1000 marks. The award of accreditation. The accreditation of the program for 6 years, for 3 years, or not accredited. No accreditation of the program means below standard, which are not able to meet the criteria. Now, if the institute is able to meet at least 7 criteria, so they will be awarded accreditation for 6 years, 7 years, 6 years, sorry, for 7 criteria. That is Y. And in that case, C is 3, means concerns in the remaining criteria, whereas 0 deficiency and 0 weaknesses. So this becomes the criteria for accreditation for a program for 6 years. Now, if it is not fulfilled, at least few criteria are fulfilled, then we will go for the 3 years. In case of the 3 years, if the program failed to meet the criteria for the award of accreditation for 3 years, it is awarded not accredited. So whereas in the case of 3 years, at least 4 criteria has to be compliant. So this is about the accreditation chart of AICTE approved education statistics. In the academic year 2021, so there were 8,997 total AICTE approved institutions, and out of these, there were 3,627 undergraduates, 4,790 postgraduate, and 3,994 diploma institutions approved by the AICTE. The total enrollment of students stood 2.97 million. Evaluation of education policy. So since the independence, so different commissions and committees were formulated to see and ensure the quality education in the country. So in 1948-49, the first time the University Education Commission was formed, and thereafter the second Education Commission in 52-53, and Education Commission for 64 to 66 under the Dr. D.S. Kothari, and National Education Policy on Education all laid down in 1968. In the 42nd Constitutional Amendment in 1976, education in concurrent list, the Education Policy on Education NEP was formulated in 1986 first time, and the NEP 96 was modified in 1992. That is the Program of Action in 1992, and SAR Subramaniam Committee, as per this Subramaniam Committee, it was implemented in May 27, 216, and thereafter the latest one is the Dr. K. Kasturanga Committee report, which was implemented in 2020, was reported in May 31st, 2019. Now, the National Education Policy. As per this policy, as I said many times, so which was started in 2020, this education policy lays the particular emphasis on the development of the creative potential of each individual. As per this policy, which was built on the fundamental pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. And this policy is aligned to the 2030 agenda for sustainable development and aim to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society and global knowledge superpower by making both school and college education more holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, and suitable for 21st century needs, and aim at the beginning of unique capabilities of each students. So as per this policy, there are visions, missions, as the case of we have seen in AICTE approved and UGC approved accrediting instruments. So in this NEP is now looked after by the MHRD. So moving towards the higher education system consisting of large multidisciplinary university and colleges with at least one or more near districts and with more higher education institution across India that offers a medium or medium of instructions or programs in local and Indian languages. Moving towards a more multidisciplinary undergraduate institution, moving towards faculty and institutional autonomy, revamping curriculum pedagogy, assessment, reaffirming the integrity of faculty and institutional leadership, addressing through the merit appointments and career progression based on the teaching, research, and the services. So the establishment of the National Research Foundation to found outstanding peer review research and to the actively seed research in universities and colleges. The governance of higher education institutions by the high quality independent board having academic and administrative autonomy, which is light but tight regulation by a single regular regulator for higher education by the increased access equity inclusion through a range of measures including great opportunities for outstanding institution public educations, the scholarship by private universities for the disadvantages and the underprivileged students. The all infrastructure and learning materials access and available to the learner with the disabilities. The NEP's implementation plan, which has the number of key features in it, like multidisciplinary and holistic education, equity and inclusion in higher education, motivated, energized and capable faculty, technology use and integrations, global outreach of higher education, integrated higher education system, research, innovation and rank, governance and regulations, and promotion of Indian knowledge system, languages, culture and values, holistic individuals, skill and values, culture and arts, and Indian languages was taken care of. So there are some important features of the new education policy. So the higher education policy will be transformed into large multidisciplinary university, colleges, and higher education clusters, a rationalized institutional architecture, research initiatives, universities, phasing out the system of affiliations, multidisciplinary, holistic, undergraduate degree, either 3 years, 4-year durations, diploma after 2 years of study, and bachelor degree after 3 years, 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor programs, academic bank of credit, multidisciplinary educations and research universities, faculty and institutional autonomy, professional, academic and career counseling, national research foundations. You have light but tight regulation by a single overarching umbrella body for promotions of higher education, Higher Education Commission of India, that is the umbrella architecture body with 4 independent bodies for standard testing, funding, accreditation, and standard testing. The funding for the Higher Education Grant Council, accreditation, National Accreditation Council, regulations, National Higher Education Regulatory Councils, and professional education integral part of the higher education system. Promote online and digital educations. The key feature of national education policies are the primary, secondary, and higher education. So, which is in the process of implementing. From 0 to 6 years is cognitive development age, 3 to 6 formal schooling in the NEP landmark, and upon up to 5th standard in mother tongue, that and that is 1 plus 12 foundation stage, 6 to 14 years right to education focus, 100% GRE in schools education by 2030 gross enrollment ratio, that GRE is. The 10 plus 2 changes to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, and which gives more and more flexibility in subject selections. The primary and secondary education objectives of the implementation part is in terms of the mother tongue wherever possible, the teaching of coding from 6 standards, the focus on vocational education from the secondary school level 6 to 8, exposed to the important vocational craft like carpentry, electrical work, metal work, etc. And by 2025, at least 50% learning through the schools and higher education system with exposure to vocational education and their employability. Multidisciplinary admission through the CUTE. So in this case, flexibility in choosing the subjects, no hard separation, minimum and minor and major subjects. Emphasis on conceptual understanding, projects, measure to develop quality education. By 2030, minimum degree qualification is 4-year integrated BTech degree. The university and college within phase out affiliated colleges in 10 to 15 years. The measure to improve accessibility to education, gender inclusion fund to be established to provide equitable quality education to all girls and transgenders. So this is new addition here. The complete resources for the integration of children and disabilities resource centers, ensure dedicated units for digital infrastructure, which is need to expand technology scholarship for society and economically poor children's. The students enrollment in higher education can see is about it has the world largest higher education system and ranks second in terms of student enrollment in the world. And the India had 18.5 million students enrolled in higher education in 1920, and with 19.6 million male and 18.6 million female students. The online education market in India is expected to grow by $2.28 billion during 21-25. The NEP 2020 aims to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education, from 26.3% in 2018 to 50% by 2035. The NEP aims to add 3.5 crore new seats to higher education institutions. There has been a significant increase in the share to state private universities as part of the total universities. In 1920, 38.10% of universities in the state were the state private universities, and 7.9 were the private deemed universities. So there are 327 state private universities and 80 private deemed to be universities in India in 2019-20. The university mix is as follows in different categories. That is, the state universities about 439, deemed to be universities about 126, central university 54, and the private university about 395. So these are the different shares of the students enrolled in the higher education and expected growth of students enrolled in higher education. So in the financial year 35, it is expected that it will be 820. So NEP aims to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education. The major problems currently faced by the higher education institution in India are like severely fragmented higher education ecosystem, rigid separation of disciplines, limited access, uh, particularly in socio-economically disadvantaged area, limited teachers and institutional anatomy, inadequate mechanism for merit-based career, lesser emphasis on research, ineffective regulatory system, and large affiliating universities result in low standards of undergraduate education system. There are some challenges in the education system in a crisp way: accessibility for the poor, socially background, gender, rural, digital, affordability, like poverty, cost, which is also coming in between, quality, basics and levels, self-sustainable, sustained institutions, accreditation to be made compulsory to counter mushrooming of substandard education centers. There are some major challenges like MHRD, like multiple entry and exit, GDPA investment in education to 6%, focusing on gross enrollment to increase 50% by 2035, and the responsibility of making India a global knowledge superpower. The institutional restructuring and consolidation. The main thrust of this policy regarding the higher education is to end the fragmentations. That is, the higher education by transforming higher education into a large disciplinary universities, colleges, higher education clusters, knowledge hubs, each of which will be aimed to have 3,000 or more students. The ancient Indian universities, Takshila, Nalanda, etc., which had thousands of students from India and the world studying in vibrant multidisciplinary environments, imply demonstrated and types of great success that large multidisciplinary research and test and teaching universities could bring. The university means multidisciplinary institution will be followed in the higher education system for higher learning, which offers the undergraduate and graduate programs with high quality teaching, research, and community enlargement. The college will be encouraged, mentored, supported, and incentivized to gradually attain the minimum benchmarks required for each level of accreditation. Higher education institution will have autonomy and freedom for to move gradually from one category to another based on their plans, action, and effectiveness. In addition to teaching, research, higher education institutions have other crucial responsibilities which they have discharged through the appropriate resourcing uh, incentives and structures. By 2040, all the higher education institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institution and to have large students enrollment, preferably in thousands, for optimal use of infrastructure and resource, and for creation of vibrant multidisciplinary communities. There will be a fair and transparent system for determining the increased level of public funding support for the public higher education institution. The institution will have option to run open distance learning and online program provided they are accredited to enhance their offering, improve access, increase gross enrollment ratio, and provide opportunities for lifelong learning. The single stream higher education institution will be phased out over time and will move towards vibrant multidisciplinary institution to enable and encourage high quality multidisciplinary teaching and research across the field. A new regulatory system individualized by this policy will foster the overall culture of the empowerment and autonomy to innovate, including the gradually phasing out the system of affiliated colleges over the period 10 to 15 years through a system of graded autonomy. The overall higher education sector aimed to integrate higher education system, including professional and vocational education. The present complex nomenclature of higher education in the country, such as deemed to be university, affiliated college, etc., will be replaced by university on fulfilling the criteria as per the norm laid down by the National Education Policy. The higher education policy aim to achieve the GRE, as I said, is 50% by 2035, online pedagogy and the learning methodology for learning, and bringing in a new regulatory authority for higher education with 4 departments to look into fundamental allocation, setting standards, accreditation, and regulation. The change in curriculum of BE with provision of multiple entry and exit. So this is one of the biggest challenge in new education policy, multiple entry and exit, which allows the foreign universities to establish a presence in India. Complicated processes to have world-class universities culture and freedom for the students. As expected, the GRE 50% by 2035, the government has decided to add 3.5 billion new seats in higher education by 2035. The India needs 3.5 billion more teachers by 2035. A separate pillar of assess quality, equity, affordability, accountability, frequency review and analysis, and he will be required to grow at an average annual growth rate of 3.35 per annum. The more holistic and multiple education the holistic and multidisciplinary education aim to develop all capacities of human beings. So Higher Education Institute will focus on research and innovation by setting up the startup incubation, technology development center for frontier areas, greater industry, academy, interdisciplinary research, including humanities and social sciences. Internationalization, the courses and program is subject such as the international Indian languages Ayush system of medicine, yoga, arts, music, history, culture, modern India, science, modern India, sciences, social sciences, along with the meaningful opportunities for social engagement, residential facilities, on-campus sports will be fostered to attain the global quality standard to attain the greater number of international students in the country. India will be promoted as a global study destination, providing the premium education at affordable cost to restore its role as a Vishwaguru as earlier. In international students offered at higher education hosting foreign students will be set up in all the institution, and the students activity and participation will increase, and the students are the prime stakeholder in the education system. Students are given plenty of opportunities for participation in sports, culture, activity club, and so on. The counseling system for handling stress and emotional adjustment will be set up, and all the higher education will ensure quality medical facilities for all the students in the campus itself, and the financial support for the student will be provided by the institute itself and the funding agencies by in various forms. The private higher education institution will be encouraged to offer large number of free ships and the scholarship to their students. Motivated, energized, and uh, capable faculties will be available and taking care of the students. The student teacher ratio will not be too high so that the teacher remains pleasant and there is sufficient time for the interaction with the students. The higher education institution will have a clearly defined, independent, and transparent process criteria for the faculty recruitment. Then excellent faculty with higher academics and service a credential will be identified and trained through a ladder and the leadership positions. There will be a quality and inclusion of higher education. The certain facts of inclusion of higher education, such as lack of knowledge of higher education opportunities, financial constraint, admission process, geographical and language barriers, poor employability potential of higher education program will be there. The step to be taken by the government, the enlarged gender balance in admission of higher education system, provide more financial assistance and scholarship, and develop and support technology tools for the better participation and learning outcomes. There are some steps to be taken by the higher education institution, like conduct outreach on higher education opportunities and scholarship, make admission process more inclusive, make curriculum more exclusive, develop more degree courses taught in Indian languages, provide socio emotional and academic support for all the students through counseling programs, develop institutional uh, development plans for action and increasing participation from SCDs. The quality academic research in all fields through a new national research foundation will be formed. A robust ecosystem of research is more important with a rapid change in the world. For example, climate change, population management, biotechnology, expanding digital uh, marketplace, a rise of machine learning and artificial intelligence. The research and innovation investment in India is 0.69% of GDP as compared to 2.8% in India. The research in arts and humanities, along with science and social science, is important for the progress of the country. The world best university shows that the best teaching and learning process at higher education occurs in multidisciplinary setting. So that part has been taken care of in the new education policy, and it is expected that we will meet the condition and requirement fulfilled by laid down by the national education policy. The primary activities of the NEP is fund primitive pre-reviewed grant proposal across the discipline and act as a liaison between the researcher, government, industry to facilitate innovations in the policy implementations. The Higher Education Commission of India has 4 independent pillars, so that is one of the good thing here. So to take care the research and other activities in depth and in a clear vision. So the first one is National Higher Education Regulatory Council. Second is National Accreditation Council. Third is Higher Education Grants Councils. And the fourth one is General Education Council. The functioning of all the independent verticals, such as regulations, NHERC, accreditation, NAC, funding, HEGC, and academic standards setting, GEC, and the overarching autonomous umbrella body itself will be based on the transparent public disclosure and use technology extensively to reduce human interface to ensure efficiency and transparency in their work. In earlier, there were some points which were taken care of by the new education policy. By the preparation of professionals will involve critical and interdisciplinary thinking, stand-alone agriculture universities, legal universities, capacity and equality of agriculture and allied disciplines. Legal education will adopt best practices, and healthcare education needs to be refined so that the duration, structure, and design of education program will match. And the technical education include the degree, diploma, etc. Now to assess all these things in the country, the National Institutional Ranking Framework was designed. So as per this NIRF and its ranking, the few points are there which will take care to give the ranking in the country to decide which one of the institute is best for studying in engineering and others. The teaching, learning and resources, research and professional practices, graduation outcomes, outreach and exclusively, and peer perception, world ranking thereafter to see which one is the best institute in the world. So higher education has become global. So that is the need for the ranking at world level. So these are the indicator for the QS ranking of the QS world ranking, the academic reputation, employer reputation, faculty student ratio, citation per faculty, international student ratio and international faculty ratio. So these are a bar graph of the number of universities ranked from 17 to 22 in QRS World University Ranking System. In 2022, about 1,300 universities participated, and the distribution per type of university. Here you can see private and public sector. Type private is about 1,172 and in public is 5,278. So the ratio you can see in private is 18.2% and the public is 18.8%. So here the number of countries represented is 17 to 18. So we can see after 2020 there is a huge rise of participating the institute to become a global and visible in the world. The gross expenditure on the research and development in the United States, we can see a good amount. In India, still less. So it is expected in the coming time. So this will move up and more uh, uh, money will be invested in research and development programs. The country distribution of the top 200 universities in 2022. So in India, only 3 universities, that is IIT Mumbai, IIT Delhi and IIT Bangalore. The university distribution across the countries for the engineering and technologies. So here in India, we have 11 universities. So these are all mostly IITs, then VIT, DU and BITS. These are the indicators for determining the times higher educations, that is ranking indicators, teaching 30%, research 30%, citation 30%, international outlook 7.5%, industry income 2.5%. In the world THE, World University Ranking, the Indian Institute of Science comes in the bracket of 100 and 125. And the Thapar, the university, our university, my university, comes in the bracket of 401 to 500. And here the VIT is in 500 to 600 and BITS is 600 to 800 bracket. So this is all about in brief consolidation about the quality and accreditation by the funding by the university and the accreditation agencies, government tools, AICT, UGC, MHRD, who is taking care and responsible to maintain the quality system and accreditation in the education system to ensure the quality and give the confidence among the students, parents, and society for our education system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your kind and brief presentation. Actually, you have explained the whole structure, what is happening in the higher education today and where we are lacking, what we have to do, the next steps you have already explained. Thank you very much, sir. We are highly obliged for your detailed presentation. Sir, we have with us our director, sir, Shri B.N. Dikshit Sahab. Sir, Dikshit Sahab, would you like to speak 2 words, please?
It was the very nice lecture from Professor ji, Ravinder Agrawal ji, and we must appreciate him that he has given the lecture on the all the universities which are available in the countries and their rank and positions, and there is need of the skill development and motivation, that so that the peoples may be uh, get the self-employment and innovation, so that they may go for opening of the uh, new industries, so that whatever our country's problem is there, that may be removed, and for that the more innovations and R&D is required. And I think that with this type of programs, we may get the more knowledge, and who are participating, the lecturers, professors, and students, they will get the uh, a support of knowledge, and they will think that how to improve their system and how to improve the system of their institute for the development and to bring their organization at the international level. Thank you, Mr. Agarwal,
Thank
and thank you all the participants.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. Thanks to
you.
all the speaker, honorable speaker, Professor Ravindra Agarwal Sahab, Dikshit Sahab, Vinit Mathur Sahab, participants, and the most important is the NIC team, Mr. Santosh and Atulji, who has made this program successful. Thanks to all. Sir, a few of them have asked few questions. They're asking what will be the employment prospects in 2035. He was asking. So there are some few questions. I will send you by in chat in WhatsApp. You kindly reply so that we can reply them in the mails. Few of them are asking for the presentation. If you kindly permit, we can share this presentation to all as per your permission, sir.
Okay, sir, we can share the PPT with
Thank
all
you.
the participants. And I am also thankful to you for giving me a platform to interact with everyone
Thank you
on
very much.
education policy.
Thank you very much, sir. Actually, you have made this presentation. What is the actual structure, and this whole data is very important. For so you have shared with us. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
NIC team.